Welcome to this episode of YouTube, where we've had a lot of snow falling in the last week, and the hormones seem to be calming a little bit. Aiden's been making quite a bit of progress. I think we left it off at the last YouTube, where he was able to drag a carcass up into the bed in front of the window and be able to defend it. We're now seeing him regularly hanging out with the pack, and as a matter of fact, today he came into the medical pen, which is a kind of a confined area with the Arctics in the pen as well. So that was a real significant event. And what might be triggering a little bit is Bolts is getting a little bit of testing from Axel, and certainly we've been seeing ride-up behaviors between the two of them, but the Arctics seem to be focusing a little bit on Bolts, and obviously if they focus on Bolts, that gives Aiden a little bit more confidence, because the Arctic still, even though there's a little bit of grab biting from behind, they kind of still see Aiden in their mind as their pack leader. That's who they bonded with. That's who was established. And you see that RLU over there on the side. Bolts is still confident enough to do a raised leg urination, which again is a status thing. But what's interesting here is Aiden comes over to check it out, and he's not confident enough to do what's called an overmark. And so that still tells me that he's not quite there yet when it comes to Bolts. So this is an ongoing process. You know, we again know that around 9 or 10 years of age we typically retire our wolves, but we want to make sure that it's on their terms and not our terms. And so what's probably likely going to happen now is the season's going to go to a calmer time of the year, and Aiden may very well be able to integrate as a pack member throughout the summer, and we may have to revisit this into the fall when the hormones and season changes. By that time he'll be over 10 years of age and obviously be kind of in a situation of retiring for other reasons. But like I said, the pack is calmer, and this is Axel on top of the rock, so we're getting longer daylight, we're getting more sun, we certainly are getting more raven activity, and opportunities for the wolves to share their food resources with the ravens have increased. But we are still trying to make sure that Grayson has extra resources and that Aiden has extra resources. So you'll see we have the midweek feeding yet, and on Wednesday we have the Saturday night feeding, and then whenever possible we'll try to give Aiden and Grayson a separate meal throughout the week, just to be able to help those two, because they have probably more of the challenges than the other wolves. Aiden's challenge is confidence, is psychological more than physical, whereas Grayson's challenge is more physical for whatever reason. Again, he's lower body weight than Axel. He's been lower body weight than Axel from the beginning, and we just continue to deal with that. His last weight in February was 82 pounds, whereas Axel is over 98 pounds, so that's a bit of a stretch there. So we'll weigh him again on March 2nd, when it is the Arctic's birthday. Up until then, we are just continuing to watch and record as much data as we can, and certainly get a sense from each wolf care person what their perspective is on the dynamics of the pack. But like I said, as this time of the year, I see less tension, I would say, is probably the best way to describe it, between Axel and Grayson, between Axel and Bolts, and certainly we hope that we'll see a diminished tension between Bolts and Aiden. So like I said, we get a lot of snow, and we haven't had Luna on camera for a couple of weeks, and that's just a logistics thing. It's got nothing to do with Luna. Just didn't have footage of them, but we are seeing the snow build up in retirement. Works out pretty well. We have short fences, and we have wolves that don't jump, so that works out pretty well. But you can see the amount of snow on the roof that had to be shoveled, that has to be shoveled off. The dens are just little kind of peepholes in the snow, but we still continue to do cover hay for these guys. And when we're in the back habitat, there's lots of pines, and certainly we get our fair share of snow, but we also get our fair share of blowing and snow that blows off of the top of the pines. And so this habitat especially is getting really filled with snow, and oftentimes it's hard to see where the wolves are. And Luna's in the back behind this den and comes out. So that's the den that she can stand on to get a view over the fence into the exhibit pack. And you can see now with all the snow on there, she's quite a bit taller. So they're doing good. We've had less interaction. Again, hormones even for retirees are calming a little bit, so we typically see them ramp up in October, November, really start peak in January and early February, and by March things calm down a little bit. So Luna's tail posture is doing pretty good. She is presenting on a regular basis for work. Still seeing a little bit of concern on her femur. I see a little more rotation than I'd like, but she's getting body work, and Grizzer's doing great. I mean, for a 14-year-old, soon to be 14, so he won't be 14 until May 5th, but he's doing great. He's eating every day. He's liking it. He's alert. You can't move anything in the wolf lab without Grizzer knowing about it. And then here's my favorite part. This is the work that the Working for Wolves did. Notice the ice-free zone. As a matter of fact, cover hay that Grizzer uses to sleep there as well. So thanks for watching, and we'll keep you updated on Aiden. I'm sure you're seeing him on the camera on a regular basis. We'll see you next week.